Okay, everybody, hope everything's doing okay, everybody's all right. Enjoying your break, a super long spring break. Today is Wednesday. We're going to do completing the square. This is a much harder concept and it's really hard math, so don't get frustrated if you have a hard time with this. Please feel free to ask questions if you need to come in for help. You just need to schedule it with me somehow. If you email me or set up something on Canvas, that would be awesome. I will try to be here. I will definitely make myself available. So completing the square is a difficult thing. What we're looking for is a version like, we'll make that C. X plus c squared, and for now we're going to make it equal d. Some other form of that. So if we were to FOIL this out, it would be x plus c times x plus c. That is the Santa hat. X times x is x squared. X times c is xc, plus x times c is xc again, and then c times c is c squared. Okay, this is all in your notes, but if you're having a hard time with the notes, these two are like terms, x squared plus 2xc plus c squared. So if we were to try that with a actual example, not just letters, x plus 2 squared, that is x plus 2 twice, that's x squared, and plus 2x plus 2x plus 2 squared is 4. Adding the two like terms, x squared plus 4x plus 4. So this works out because of the two terms that are always going to be like terms when you add these together. This ends up being that letter twice. 2 times the second part of the binomial squared will always be this twice, times 2. Not squared, but times 2. So what completing the square is what we just did, but moving backwards. So if you have something like what's in your notes, x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0, and we're going to try and complete the square with that. Again, you guys, this is really not easy. Hopefully we can work slowly and get through this, but it's not an easy concept. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to move c over to the other side. So minus 1 from both sides, x squared plus 4x. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of space, equals -1. Okay? And a way of doing this is I'm going to add something in this box, and in order for the equal sign to remain equal, I need to put what I put in this box on both sides of the equal sign. So this is going to be plus, and what goes in the box will be the same. Okay, I need some number that when I do this, okay, what's here needs to be the same as like what we did when we did the binomial. Okay, this is going to be x, and we need some number that's going to make this a perfect square. The example that we just did a minute ago, this is going to be half of this number, half of b squared. So this is going to be b over 2 all squared. And the same thing goes over here. B over 2 all squared. So b is 4, 4 over 2 squared. Oh no, it's not squared because it's squared here. So this is also 4 over 2 squared. So this is carries the same sign. X plus, and 4 over 2 is 2 equals negative 1. And then over here, 4 over 2 is 2. Squared is 4. So negative 1 plus 4, x plus 2 squared equals negative 1 plus 4 is 3. And like we did before, the same as the last assignment, we have a quadratic, what's being squared is isolated. I can square root. So it's the square, or x plus 3, or x plus 2 equals square root of 3. Don't forget we need to do the plus or minus of that. Minus 2 for both sides. X equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 3. And that, not pretty, but that is your answer. Okay. Again, you guys don't get frustrated. This is really hard. I'm going to try and do lots of examples and we'll work through this. So let's do another example. That example might have seemed more confusing because I really tried to go into a little bit more depth of how and why. I'm going to try and do it a little bit more of a shortcut way, more of a methods way of doing this. Okay, let's do another problem. This is from your notes. Hopefully you guys are able to get this off of Canvas. This is the example, x squared minus 6x plus 2 equals 0. Again, the first step is to move c over to the other side. So I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. X squared minus 6x equals negative 2. From this point, what I would do, you know it's going to be this when you're done. Okay, it's always going to be this. Right here goes half of b. Half of b is negative 6. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared goes over here to keep it balanced, to keep it equal. Negative 3 squared is plus 9. X minus 3 squared, x minus 3 squared equals negative 2 plus 9 is 7. Square root both sides. X minus 3 equals, and remember plus or minus the square root of 7. Add 3 to both sides. And x equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 7. And that's the answer. I'm going to do a couple more examples like this, and then hopefully you guys are actually doing this when you're watching the video. Please try and pause the video and do these on your own. But not this next one. This next one I will do so that you can see another one worked. My way is probably a little bit different than the method that you'll see in the other video with Mrs. Hawks. Whichever method you want to do, whichever one makes the most sense, you should do that method. X squared plus 2x minus 6 equals 0. Okay. This is actually example 3. Add 6 to both sides. X squared plus 2x equals 6. Okay, now parentheses, 6 and x squared. B is 2. I do in here. I do b over 2. B over 2 is 2 over 2. So it's plus 2 over 2, which is 1. So that's 1. 1 squared is 1. X plus 1 squared equals 7. Square root both sides. x plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 7, minus 1 from both sides, and x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 7. This is the answer. It's not pretty, and you can't simplify this, remember, from your last trimester when you have a square root. These are not alike. You cannot add those or subtract those from each other. That's as simplified as you can get. Let's try another problem. This is example 2, the one I should have done last. X squared minus 2x equals 10. For this problem, it's already moved c over to the other side. That's already done for us. So we're ready to skip to the end. X, and here goes b over 2. Negative 2 over 2 is negative 1. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. I need to do negative 1 squared. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. X minus 1 squared equals 11. Square root both sides. X minus 1 equals the square root of 11. Plus or minus. Don't forget plus or minus. It's really easy to forget. Add 1 to both sides. And x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 11. That's the answer. Now I'm going to let you guys try them. Try these on your own if you have any luck. See how it goes. I'm going to push pause for a second.